There's a reason why Highfield is gaining so much market share. Their rigid hull inflatable boats are light, strong, and durable, but they've always felt just a little bit industrial. Well, that was until now. This is the new Sport 420, which sits right in the middle of a new sport lineup from 10 feet all the way up to 24 feet. And with this new sport lineup, Highfield clearly intends to make a mark in the luxury tender category. I mean, just look at the detailed diamond stitching in this new upholstery. Now check out the storage on this boat, which is under 14 feet in length. I mean, this is absolutely enormous, partly because the storage goes all the way to the floor. And check out the detail here, a gas assist strut to hold the seat open, so it's never going to come down on your fingers when you're not looking. And if you look closely inside, you'll notice that all the components, the steering components, the wiring, and the bilge pump are all sourced in North America. And they all meet the NMMA standard. But this is not the only storage on the boat. Forward, under the seat cushion, there's another compartment, which normally you'd find a fuel tank. But on the Sport 420, the 10.5-gallon fuel tank is under the deck. The console is new, with more room for larger electronics, and the switches are now LED-lit push buttons, as opposed to plastic rockers. Under the console seat, we find even more storage, along with the battery and VHF radio. I'm always adding gadgets down the road, and this kind of access is really appreciated. EVA foam is standard on the Sport models, covering almost all aluminum surfaces you might touch. And one of my favorite features is this bow pad. Now, a few tenders have them, but the Sport model has the latest version, with these flattened edges and flush mount cleats. It's a great spot to sit, and trust me, the last thing you want to do when you slide off into the beach is slide over a hard-mounted cleat. Well, now you've seen the details, let's take this for a ride. And since the 420 Sport weighs under 700 pounds dry, you could get away with a 40 horsepower outboard. But what fun would that be? Today, we have the ultimate, Yamaha's super lightweight F70. With a dry weight of only 253 pounds, this is by far the lightest 70 on the market today, and is even lighter than the closest modern two-stroke by 67 pounds. But that doesn't mean it's a stripped-down three-cylinder. This is a super smooth 996cc four-cylinder with a single throttle valve and pulse-tuned intake tracks, much like the big 425. Needless to say, the performance is awesome. With a light load and half a tank of fuel, time to plane was 3 seconds flat, and top speed was a hair over 40 miles per hour, which in a dinghy feels more like 60. But that isn't even half the story. Since the boat and motor are both quite light, this 420 will stay on plane right down to 15 miles per hour. Talk about a comfortable boat. I mean, it's got a 20-degree dead rise, so that means it's an Ocean Master hull, but it's got 4mm plating in it. And with those welded strakes, you can really feel how firm and rigid this boat is. You don't really get a lot of vibration transferring through the hull. It just feels like a piece of billet aluminum, so solid. And that 20-degree dead rise gives you amazing ride comfort. Looking for the limit, I kept turning the wheel harder and harder with more and more throttle, and this boat just sticks. It was almost impossible to blow out the prop, and never once did this boat spin. Crazy for a 14-foot tender. Look at that! Oh man! This thing's awesome! And the way this boat turns really is incredible. I mean, it's predictable. You can really ham-fist the wheel, and it doesn't let go. So you have this confidence you don't always have in a small inflatable boat. Wow. And I absolutely love the ergonomics. I mean, everything is just in the right position. The angle of the instrument cluster. I can see the chart plotter perfectly. With a beam just 1 inch short of 7 feet, this 420 feels bigger than most 450s. And one thing I really like, all the toe points are welded into the hulls. You're never crossing over the tubes and having to sit on a nasty D-ring. The aluminum arch is an option, but for me, it's a no-brainer. Not only does it provide a hard elevated toe point for wake sports and a permanent spot for the light, but it looks awesome and gives you something to grab onto when boarding. Reluctantly, we have to give this boat back, but before we do, we want to show you a few more things that can be seen more clearly on the trailer. Check this out. If you're running any transducers in the boat, you don't have to drill holes in the hull. They actually weld a transducer plate, so you can mount one without any holes in the boat. In fact, there's only one hole in the entire boat, and that is the drain plug. And just in case you want to trailer your boat with the drain plug out, Highfield took the time to weld in a drain plug holder. Now here you can see the transom's notched out a bit, so there's extended running surface to either side of the engine. Now this provides more lift, but not too much. And because their tubes don't have end caps, the tubes actually provide more buoyancy at the back of the boat. Aluminum is a bit softer than metal, but all of these have hardened inserts, so if you hook a hook to it, it's not going to wear out just like aluminum might. It's not a big detail, but the overlap on the seams runs in the same direction as the water, so water's never going to push back the other way. Now the standard factory warranty from Highfield is 2 years on PVC and Hypalon, but if you register your boat, they extend that warranty to 5 years on PVC and 10 years on Hypalon, and that covers both the fabric and the seams. Overall, I am truly impressed with the quality and finishing touches. It is clear when you look around this boat that Highfield remains committed to continuous improvement, and these new sport models reflect this commitment. My only real problem is, well, this one is already sold.